further analyze the property. So once again, we've talked to the real estate agent, they're open and willing to work with us, and now we want to analyze the actual property. So what I like to do and what I teach is to find the big three numbers. The big three numbers, number one is going to be the ARV. This is the after repair value. This is the future price of our subject property, the property we're analyzing, the distressed house, and we're going to analyze for the future value of this property, and that will allow us to determine what the purchase price is going to be. And we also determine that by finding out what the repairs costs are. So the second biggest number, the repairs cost, is the cost of renovation in order to achieve the after repair value. And once we dictate these numbers, and once we plug it into our MAO formula that we have over here on the board, we'll then be able to determine our purchase price. So let's just say the property that we're analyzing, the one that we called on, is a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,100 square feet. All right, so how do we find the after repair value, the ARV? We're going to find something called comps. And comps are comparable sold properties that are close to our subject property. We want to find comps that are the same bed bath count and also similar square footage as our subject property. The subject property, once again, is a property that we're analyzing, the distressed property that we want to offer on. So if our subject property is a 3-bed, 2-bath house and 1,100 square feet, then we want to find comparable sold properties that are also 3-bed, 2-bath and around 1,100 square feet. Now I'm going to give you my comp criteria that we've been using for 12 years to effectively fix and flip property and to analyze for the ARV. Now the criteria I need you to understand that we've been using for 12 years to effectively get the ARV on our fix and flip deals. This criteria that we use is that we need to find renovated sold properties that have sold in the last 6 months that are plus or minus 20% of this square footage. So it can be a little bigger, a little smaller, because sometimes we won't be able to find model matches or compare exactly apples to apples. We want to try and find comps of the same bed bath count. That's super important, right? I'm not looking for a property that has 5 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms and that's 2,000 square feet, because that's just too different of properties. It's going to make it too hard to analyze for the ARV. We also need to find properties that are in the same zip code, so the same city. We don't want to be looking at a property that's 5 cities over. It's not going to help us analyze for the ARV. There's different school districts, there are different areas. There can be homeless in this other area, not in this area. So that's very important. And if possible, we want to find comps in the same neighborhood. And lastly, the last criteria that we want is within 0.5 miles radius of the subject property. Now, the great thing about the MLS is they have tools that you can actually circle around your property and select all the criteria I just mentioned, be able to pull up all those sold properties. You can also do that on Redfin, Zillow, and Realtor. Sometimes it's not as user-friendly, but this is essentially what we need to do. Let's say we use this comp criteria and we find 3 comps that have sold in the last 6 months with similar bed bath count and similar square footage. Let's say we found one comparable property at $540,000, another one at $545,000, and another one at $550,000. Well, these are all pretty darn similar. What I'm going to do is average out these, and when I do the average, it's going to come to $545,000. Now, confidently, I'm willing to say that this property will most likely sell at $545,000 because that's what my comparable properties are showing me. So when done effectively, I can now put my ARV at $545,000. And if it's hard for you to remember that comp criteria that I covered, I'll actually put that into a cheat sheet for you, and you can just go to realestateskills.com/comp and be able to download that, and I'll put the link in the description as well. And now let's go into the repairs cost, right? How do we analyze for the repairs cost? Well, one thing we include in all of our programs is something called a repair line item cheat sheet. And this has every single repair needed on a property so that you can get familiar with it. If you want to be a pro fix and flipper, it's important to know every single item in a property and how much it costs. But as you start to develop relationships with contractors, as you start to do more deals, typically you can develop a great rule of thumb, a general square footage rule, a dollar per square footage rule that allows you to quickly analyze repairs on a property. For example, if a property is a cosmetic fixer, meaning I don't need to adjust the foundation, I don't need to jackhammer the foundation and put in rebar and fix the property, and the property is not burnt down, I have to rebuild it, meaning it's all cosmetic. I'm talking about lipstick, like paint, cabinetry, landscaping, new flooring, but not moving walls. All cosmetic. I know from doing enough deals in my particular area, an all cosmetic fixer, I can get done at $35 a square foot. So if my subject property is 1,100 square feet, I multiply 1,100 times $35, and that comes out to $38,500. So from a quick analysis in about 5 seconds, I determined roughly what the repairs are going to be. Now, I'm a round upper. I'm gonna round this up and say the repairs are gonna be $40,000 if this is going to be a cosmetic fixer. So now we have repairs costs. Let's throw that in here, 40K. And it's important to understand this is a rule of thumb. If we get this analysis wrong, which a lot of people do when they're starting out, they totally underanalyze and underestimate the repairs costs. And typically they overestimate the ARV as well. What happens if you do that is it directly eats into your bottom line, your profit on the deal. And that's how a lot of people get in trouble and get in and out of this business very quickly because they don't understand the numbers. And this is why in our programs, we always love to cross-check our students' numbers. We always love to go over their deal analyzer and make sure their numbers are solid and that they have a good deal on their hands. Now in this scenario, I'm covering this cosmetic fixture, the repairs of $40,000. In another example, let's just say there was a cracked slab. There was a roof replacement that needed to happen. I would still analyze for the cosmetic fixing that needs to happen, but then a la carte, the additional items, the roof, the slab fix, I would then add to this number. So for example, the slab fix was $20,000. I would add that to $40,000 in that scenario, and my total repairs cost would be $60,000. Well, once again, in this scenario, we're gonna say the repairs are $40,000 because it's a cosmetic fixer. And if you're flipping a house for the first time, I highly recommend you work on a house that's only cosmetic. If you bite off more than you can chew, you can run into a lot of issues. And that's what a lot of people do when they get started. They think that, hey, I wanna do a $200,000 renovation. And the higher the renovation cost, the more walls you have to open, the more things that can go wrong. So I do not recommend that if you're flipping a house for the first time. Always try and go for a cosmetic fixer. Now that we have the ARV at 545, because we looked at the comps, and we have the repairs cost at $40,000, now what we can do is plug it into this MAO formula. MAO stands for maximum allowable offer. Now what we use in our programs are calculators to analyze these numbers down to the T, down to the penny, and also allows us to not have to use this paper napkin math to be able to figure out these numbers because we like to quickly just analyze these properties. But in this scenario, I'll break down all of the costs so that you can find out how we get our purchase price from here. So what I first need to do is put my ARV at the top. We know that that's $545,000. $545,000, we then need to calculate our hard money loan costs. So the amount of time that a project should take is typically 4 to 6 months, depending on the amount of renovation. So I know from experience, if I'm doing this renovation, it's $40,000 in repairs. A good rule of thumb is that the work itself, about $10,000 will take 1 week of work. I'm accounting for about 2 months of work in case there's delays, 2 months on the market in case there's delays, and then 2 months of closing time in case there's delays. So I'm going to say that I'm going to hold on this project for 6 months. And what I like to do is be conservative in my estimates. I don't like to say, hey, I'm going to get this thing done in 62 days. I never want to do that. I always over budget on time. That way, if I get the project done quickly, then I'm making more profit. I have a buffer in there. Now we need to subtract the hard money loan costs. Remember I talked about hard money loans earlier. There's a cost to that money and borrowing that capital. So with the hard money loan cost, what we have to understand is there's an annualized interest rate and also points. So let's just say we borrowed at 10% interest rate annualized, and there's a 1% point, an origination fee. Let's just say this project's gonna be 6 months like we talked about because we're conservative. Well, in this scenario, as an example, just to break this down quickly, we're going to borrow money from a hard money lender at loan to cost. The cost, the purchase price plus the renovation. We know the renovation is $40,000. In this example, let's say the purchase price is $440,000. 90% of $440,000 is going to be $396,000. That's the amount of money the hard money lender is willing to lend us. And they're willing to lend us that capital at a 10% interest rate. Well, 10% of $396,000 is $39,600. That's if I was going to borrow that money for a year. We need to divide that in half because we're borrowing the money for 6 months. So that's going to be $19,800 of interest payments that we need to pay for the hard money loan cost. Now, additionally, there's 1% origination fee on this money. For borrowing $396,000, what's 1% of $396,000? It's $3,960. So we need to add $19,800 plus $3,960 for borrowing money from the hard money lender for 6 months. And this is going to be $23,000 $4,760. We have to account for that cost of borrowing that capital. So that's how we calculate the hard money loan cost. And now we need to calculate the private money lender costs. So what's important to understand is we were able to get $396,000 from a hard money lender. Now the difference between the amount to purchase the property, $400,000 and $40,000, $440,000, $396,000, that's $44,000 of additional money we need to bring to the table. But now we have to account for the hard money lender costs that we need to borrow money for as well. So we have a $44,000 difference that we need to borrow from a private money lender. We have $23,760 that we need to account for in hard money loan costs. We have to account for that. Then we need to account for the front end closing costs on this property. I run this number at 2% of the purchase price to cover the front end closing costs, which is typically around 1%. And we need to cover some additional holding costs, meaning utilities, taxes, insurance, for when we're actually flipping the property. So 2% of the purchase price typically covers it. So at 2% of $400,000 in this situation, that would be $8,000. So this is the additional amount of money we need to borrow from a private money lender. And this is going to be $75,670 we need to borrow from a private money lender. I'm going to round up and say we need to bring $80,000 additional to the table from a private money lender. That's what I need to borrow from a private money lender in order to close this deal so I don't run out of money when I have to pay my hard money lender on a monthly basis. So I don't run out of money when I have to pay for utilities, taxes. So I don't run out of money when I have to pay front end closing costs when we purchase the property. So in total, just so we're on the same page, we got $396 from a hard money lender and $80K from a private money lender. We're borrowing this at 10% at one point, which we calculated the cost for. We now need to borrow, let's just say we negotiated the terms with the private money lender, because you get to negotiate the terms. That's a really cool thing. You get to bring the terms to the table when working with a private money lender. So in this scenario, let's just say we borrowed the money at 10% interest. That's what they get. If we borrow that money once again for a year, that'd be $8,000. We divide that by 2. If we're borrowing it for 6 months, that's gonna be $4,000. So that's the private money lender cost that we have here. Now we're doing well in our MAO formula. We have the ARV, hard money loan costs, private money loan costs. Now, I already calculated this particular number, the front end closing costs and hold costs. This is 2% of this purchase price. In this example, it's gonna be $8,000. The back end closing costs, we need to run this at 1% of the ARV. The ARV is 545, which is also right here. 1% is going to be 5,450. Now the realtor fees, most people run this at 5 to 6% of the ARV. What we always love to do is make it 4%. So when we're selling a property, this listing agent, if we can work with the listing agent on the property that we're buying the property with, we could have them relist the property. Or if we found that investor-friendly agent, like I taught you in the beginning steps, we can have them list the property for sale for us in the future. We pay a buyer's agent to bring a buyer to the table 2.5%. It's what we have to do as a seller. And then we pay the listing agent, the person representing our property, 1.5%. We've been doing this for years because we feel that we are delivering a property on a silver platter for a listing agent. So where most people pay an extra percentage point, that's an additional $5,450. We do not. We like to pay 1.5% when we have an agent list our property. So the total of 4% of the ARV is going to be $21,800. Those are our realtor fees. Now our aimed profit that we have on the property. If I'm doing a property that's sub $700,000, for what I put in the repairs, I want to at least get out of it. So in this scenario, if I'm putting $40,000 in the repairs, I want at least $40,000 out of this deal. I'm not saying you're going to make that on each and every deal. Sometimes you'll make more, sometimes you'll make less, but that's what we like to shoot for. So let's put $40,000 as our aimed profit. Now what we're going to do is subtract all of these costs from the ARV, and this will tell us exactly where we should have our maximum allowable offer on this property, the price that will work in order to achieve this aimed profit that we have. So let's subtract everything we have here from the 545K ARV number, and that will be 401. And so we'll subtract all of these numbers from the ARV that will give us our maximum allowable offer, which will be the purchase price on the deal. And that should be about 401,990. So we know that that's our maximum allowable offer now that we've accounted for all costs associated on the deal. This number, if everything goes right and doesn't go over budget, should give us our aimed profit of $40,000. And now we know where we need to offer at. In this scenario, I want to round down. Let's just say $400,000 is now going to be my purchase price. So good job. We've now broken down exactly where we need to offer out on this property. Because we found the ARV, 545, the repairs cost of $40,000, we're then able to break down what our purchase price should be through the estimates that we have here.
And that's how we flip houses with no money. Be on the lookout for the next video in this series. And if you want to build a hyper profitable wholesaling and flipping business, then check out my full in-depth training at realestateskills.com/watch. And I'll put the link in the description. I'll see you there, and happy flipping.